For as long as there have been human beings, we've had rituals and ceremonies when it comes to death. Even some animals, notably elephants, have them. But that doesn't mean that the globalists and neoliberalists and imperialists won't impose new methods of burial upon us. In the same way that abortion and euthanasia have been normalized, now the new normal is we boil our dead relatives in a bag in order to save the environment somehow. Let's get into this extraordinary story because it seems pretty funny to me, as well as an indicator of a total loss of ethics, morality, and spiritual anchoring, that we are now adrift in a nihilistic cosmos without meaning or without grace, and we better make some changes quickly. Let's get into it.
Well, this made headlines last week when it was revealed Desmond Tutu wasn't cremated, he was aquamated.
It's a new type of end-of-life decision.
It's a new type of end-of-life decision. Desmond Tutu, the former Archbishop of Johannesburg, was boiled like a type of bishop soup.
That uses water instead of fire.
Yeah, instead of fire, water. And instead of a funeral, a party. And instead of burying a body in the ground, why not parade it naked through the streets? And instead of revering the dead, why not jerk them off in public as a kind of sexy, penis-oriented puppet show?
And it's supposedly more environmentally friendly.
Well, it turns out a state lawmaker was already crafting a bill to make that legal in Arizona.
Yeah, this funeral home that's right behind me here, just off Main Street here in Mesa, they say people have been asking about aquamation.
I love the way the media operates. People have been asking about it. They're asking about it. People are like, how can I acclimate my granddad? One of the problems with my granddad is I can't drink that motherfucker. Why don't we boil him and eat him? Cannibalism. People, hi, thanks for joining us. I'm outside a funeral home in some nondescript territory, and I'd like to say that people are banging on the doors of the funeral parlor, demanding that their dead relatives can be glazed in sperm and held aloft on a noose. Like they're pretending that there's like an interest being generated by the public, rather than this is just some sort of new marketing mad thing.
So they're hoping state regulations will change so that they can start to offer this as an option.
This is lobbying. It's lobbying.
When the funeral home approached Representative Michelle Udall about alkaline hydrolysis, she said she'd never heard of it.
It's only alkaline hydrolysis. What's wrong with that? It's got a fancy Latin-sounding name. Oh, it's boiling dead bodies. Okay, well, did Desmond Tutu do it? He did. Phew. Start selling these crazy funerals.
After they explained the process, I didn't see any reason that we should stop people from doing that if that's how they wanted to take care of their loved ones after death.
Alkaline hydrolysis, or aquamation.
I like keep seeing this cylinder that I know for a fact they're going to boil a body in. Do you? I mean, in a way, we've come accustomed to the fact that in our culture you can see everything except where your waste goes, except where animals are slaughtered, and except how dead bodies are prepared. There are some things that remain taboo because we're aware that we interface continually with the sacred. To make everything profane, including the way that we dispose of our dead ancestors, is an indication that what we're really venturing into now is a new period of absolute nihilism. Reverence for the dead is significant, and whilst you can make the rational argument that it don't matter what happens to your dead body when it's gone, it's only a vehicle, it's only a spaceship, it's only the thing that you are occupying, there is something to be said for ritual, ceremony, revering sacred things. Turning everything into a type of product is in its own way appalling. And then the fact that you can see that there's a news item tailored towards pressuring a bill to be passed, so a new expedient measure for conducting funerals can be passed, that strikes me as a little bit icky.
Is a new type of cremation that's already legal in many states. Instead of fire, it uses water in a metal vessel like this. Bryce Bunker with Bunker Family Funerals and Cremations.
This is interesting, not only because of the subject of the film itself, but because it's such a vivid topic. It highlights how this would be handled if it was something more sensitive. There's nothing wrong with eating bugs. Here's a guy eating bugs. Like, whenever something's being introduced or something needs to be ceased, they will use the media to normalize it. Remember, the function of the media is to normalize the agenda of the powerful. So if they want to normalize, for example, you take an experimental medication that can't possibly have been clinically clinically trialed. What the media will do is amplify the threat. They'll run a ticker along the bottom of the screen. This many people have died. This many people have died. They'll put the CEO of Pfizer on the TV saying it's a moonshot. They'll do whatever it takes to make their agenda seem normal.
Gives us a breakdown of how it works.
It's about a 95% water solution, a 5% alkali solution, which is not acidic. It's the inverse of that.
It's not acid. We wouldn't put a dead body in acid. That would be evil. That we will not do. Alkaline? Oh, that I'll wear. We don't want you to wear a wire. We just want you to wear this giant foam hat with a camera in it. Oh, that I'll wear.
Typically a sodium or potassium, and they're placed in that vessel, and with gentle heat.
Very gentle. It's very gentle heat, just gently cooking your granddad.
And some gentle movement of the water, the process of that our body naturally goes through when we pass.
Natural. It's very natural. We're just naturally baking your grandmother.
It takes place in about 3 or 4 hours.
The family will still receive ashes in an urn, just like a cremation.
See? Ashes. You do that already. You don't think that's weird, do you? Instead of ashes now, a can of delicious Campbell's Grandma.
That means those ashes can still be stored or spread as a family sees fit.
It's up to you. We're not going to control that yet. Why don't we control that? Why don't we tell them that they can't store it in certain ways, or they can't disperse those ashes? Yeah, that would be good. Why don't we have absolute control? We'll do that in a separate news article. From now on, the government are going to control your every thought. They'll do this by controlling the media that you watch, the opinions you have, the food that you eat, and the things that you believe yourself to care about. It's all been planned there as part of a program to ensure that you never interface with divinity, either through nature or deep introspection inwardly. You will spend your whole life hankering after stimulation, endless desires. That's all coming now. But first of all, tired of burying your grandma? Throw that bitch in a cauldron and cook her up, Gangnam style. Oh, that's lovely.
So all of the same options would be available to a family, but how those cremated remains come to be cremated remains is what the difference between cremation and alkaline hydrolysis is.
The process has been credited with being more eco-friendly too, creating 35% of the same greenhouse gases
Oh, good. Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg.
as a typical cremation and using 90% less power.
As if you give a fuck when you're going to a funeral of a loved one, a person that was a big part of your life that's now dead. Like, look, can you please tell me, can we make some futile gesture towards climate change now? Like, you know, when you're on an airplane, you know, it sort of says stuff like eco-friendly meals and like, well, this flight's being handled. You're a fucking airplane. That's the deal, man. That's the deal we're making. Handle the deal.
And I asked Rep. Udall what some of her colleagues feel about this up at the Capitol, and she said everyone she's spoken to about it had never heard of it before, so it might take some time to spread the word about what this process is.
And that's what we're doing now. Marketing, boiling your dead relatives. You notice in thinning hair, or a big forehead, strands in your hairbrush, blood in your stools, a smell coming out your winky woo. Stress, aging hormones, and nutrient deficiencies can all trigger hair loss. No worries, because the wellness company's got a doctor-formulated solution that works from within and on the surface. It's called Roots, a topical hydrogel powered by 7 peptides that support the body's natural repair processes to promote visibly thicker, fuller hair. With consistent daily use, Roots help extend the growth phase and reduce shedding. It includes methylene blue, who doesn't love that stuff, which supports the mitochondrial function and delivers antioxidant benefits directly to the follicle. Whether you're dealing with postpartum hair loss, hormonal shifts, or early signs of aging, Roots targets the root cause. Literally the root cause. Head to twc.health/brand and use the code BRAND to get 10% off plus free shipping. That's twc.health/brand and use the code BRAND to get 10% off. If you like our channel, use our products, support our business, and don't go bald. You'll be hideous. No one will love you. If you are bald, don't worry, you'll find as you are. Here's an article from a British news source. People could soon be able to choose, brilliant, able to choose, selling it as a consumer product. Able to choose to be boiled and flushed down the drain. Instead of cremated or buried. A consultation on funerary methods, that's all it is, funerary methods, by the Law Commission is proposing legal approval of alkaline hydrolysis and human composting as new ways of disposing of people's bodies. Alkaline hydrolysis uses water, alkaline chemicals, heat and constant pressure to break down a body into liquid and pieces of bone, which can take between 2 and 18 hours. Bones and teeth survive the process and are ground down into a powder and returned to the family. There you go. There's your grandmother's ground down teeth. Oh, thank you. It's what she would have wanted. I can still taste the Sterident. Oh, they weren't real teeth. Sorry. While the rest of the body is broken down into liquid, which can be sent to the sewers, you're flushing your family down the toilet. It's the craze that's sweeping the nation, flushing your dead relatives into the sewer. Who knows? Maybe they'll become a fucking Ninja Turtle.
Do you know what water cremation is? Simply put, it involves placing a body into a biodegradable bag and then putting the bag into a container filled with 95% pressurized water and alkali solution, boiling at 160 degrees Celsius. After about 4 hours, the soft tissues of the body have completely dissolved, leaving only the skeleton. The remains are then pulverized by...
Then you're merely ground into ashes and flushed down the toilet. Or you could be snorted by Ozzy Osbourne in his Black Sabbath heyday. In a way, we're unwilling to confront the reality, or an apparent aspect of reality, that we are material entities occupied temporarily by a divine spirit. When you see this sort of laid out and played out bare, it's sort of macabre and disturbing, precisely because without tradition, without the ceremonies that help us to observe the sacred, we are adrift in such horrifying meaninglessness that even to see it described by AI in a little video trailer like this one is a macabre and disturbing experience. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat. Remember to subscribe, and then you will be pulverized into dust. These funerals have been known as water burial or resumation, but have colloquially been dubbed flushed away and flush and bone rituals. People can choose a water burial in parts of Australia and Canada, those pioneers in the colonies. A site in Navan Island is the first of its kind in Europe, which costs around €1,500. The cooperative announced in 2023 it was hoping to bring water burials to British customers in what it called the biggest changes to funerals in over 120 years. Oh my God, customers. We're customers. Even the disposal of our remains is a kind of business. We need a radical and urgent resurrection. Well, actually, we can't resurrect you because your bones have been pulverized into a dust and snorted up by the members of Motley Crue in their new fantastic video. A spokesman from Co-op Funeral Care said, "At Co-op Funeral Care, we're committed to serving the needs of our member owners and clients and offering the most sustainable and affordable services." It's sustainable. It's the whole thing's about life not being sustainable. Material life's not sustainable. That's the lesson that we're going to derive from this. Do you know what we can get? Cheap, boil in the bag, funerals. No, what we have to get is a connection to eternal principles and real virtue before we're confronted with the fact that we're all going to be just pulverized into dust as part of an experimental new funeral technology. In 2023, we announced our ambition to pilot resumation in the UK, and we subsequently worked close with the government to explore the regulatory requirements to introduce this service across the nation. However, we did not proceed with it at the time. We were unable to find a path through the current regulatory framework. Pesky regulations preventing us from boiling our dead relatives. What we're involved in, and what I'm even reluctant to acknowledge that I'm participating in, is the popularisation and normalisation of new methods of burial, which makes us confront mortality and tragedy and sadness and the necessity for eternal life and resurrection and continual revival and renewal. And even us criticising it in this way will be used ultimately to normalise the process. You can't escape. I felt the same feelings when I went and saw The Matrix. What? This is a massive Hollywood film that everyone's just watching, and then we're all going back to participate in The Matrix? Take the red pill, Neo, and you will be pulverized into an ash and then snorted up by Cypher or whatever that evil one's called.
God damn you, Cypher.
Don't hate me, Trinity. I'm just a messenger.
We welcome the Law Commission's reviews and encourage exploration into alternative methods that provide consumers, that's what you are, you're consuming life and now you're consuming death, with greater choice and deliver environmental benefits. Alkaline hydrolysis was used as a funerary method for the bodies of 5 deceased people in 2019 as part of a specially authorised study into the process. Dr. Leanne Lundy of Middlesex University, a wastewater specialist, conducted the analysis and says it can take between 4 and 18 hours to complete, depending on various factors such as the concentration of chemicals and water temperature. So that's where they would have funded a study at a university, the academic component of normalising a new process. I'm not even saying it's that bad, you're dead, whatever. But I'm just saying, look at how the cogs of the machine function together to essentially market to you a new means of the disposal of your body. One day it could be you. Her analysis found that the water a body boils boils in is full of compounds that are safe to be put back into the wastewater supply, so it's ecologically friendly. It's a system that could be added to a church or added to any location. Oh my God, adding it to a church or literally making it sacred, of course. So it would potentially be a completely different model for disposing of the dead.
Listen, it's no secret that the government always approves of some new way to poison us, but liquefying bodies and potentially putting them back into the drinking supply is a whole new level of ick. It's called alkaline hydrolysis, and it is water cremation.
You can drink your past, and you can drink your parents. Were you abused by your stepfather? Don't worry, one day you'll be drinking that bastard.
Being coined as the new, cleaner, greener, and eco-friendly way to dispose of your loved ones. But here's what really happens. A body is placed inside of a steel vat with chemicals, typically potassium hydroxide, where it is heated under a high temperature, which liquefies the body. All that's left is the bones, which are then ground up and give back to the family as ashes.
Oh God, it's so brutal and so awful. The biggest hurdle, Dr. Lundy said, was social acceptability, which is the hurdle we're helping you cross now. Not chemical or water safety. That's fine. It's fine to drink your dead relatives. I think it's because it's a new process and people don't really understand it. The morons, idiots. You don't understand these vaccines. You don't understand these lockdowns. You don't understand the war between Ukraine and Russia. You don't understand escalating tensions in the Middle East. You don't understand anything. Let's help you understand. How can we put it simply? Shut up and do as you're fucking told. There, that's our job done now. And when it gets down to the newspapers, it tends to be quite sensationalised, flashing grandma down the toilet and have a cup of grandad. Yes, that is one way of looking at it that would be unfavourable to marketing the scheme.
Watch them liquefy the dead so they could be fed intravenously to the living.
But there's a lot that goes into a sewer that we don't really think about. Maybe we should start thinking about that. Waste from mortuaries and hospitals and all sorts of things we don't know about. So from that perspective, it's not really any different. Rationally, nothing matters at all, does it? Unless you interface with the sacred and the divine on a daily basis, nothing matters. You might as well just eat your relatives while they're still alive. Some people view it as basically mixing up my loved one and poo in a sewer, and they don't like that. However, some people see returning to the water environment as being a gentle approach. Would you like your granddad to return to the water? Go on, keep going. Do you mean flushing him down the toilet with shit? Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Well, I'm going to pause on that for a while praying that we discover a set of values that connect us to timelessness and to love and to one another, rather than just advocating for new schemes that conveniently allow us to flush life down the toilet and flush death down the toilet and flush everything down the toilet, because everything's disposable, everything's a commodity, and nothing matters. And that's what you can achieve if you can get rid of that pesky idea of God and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, which the culture's done a pretty good job of. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Remember, we stream at these times on Rumble. Join us there. More important than that, if you can, please stay free. Thanks for watching the video. Have a look at this one over here, or join us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Rumble.